Eugene, I'm going to hit the ground running here. You have a story that has basically gone global. Why do you think this has resonated with so many people?
Well, I think because of the kind of climate of what's going on in the country and in the world, that it really resonates with them because the Asians in the whole just have always been kind of like the silent minority behind it. I think that's why it's gone, and it's such a interesting story because it's the platform of the NFL also. It just is the progression it's taken. So with people finding out what happened and what's been said to me, I think they're taking great interest in it.
Can you share with me exactly what happened and what led to that moment that everybody's talking about?
Well, it's like any type of off season where an assistant coach is looking for a job. You start calling the people you know, and you're on the phone and you sell yourself, um, and you just talk about all your accomplishments, who you've trained, who you've developed into Pro Bowlers, kind of information like that, and then during part of the phone conversations, it's and also you're checking off the box. I am a minority, as an extra bonus, and that's when it was kind of said to me that well, they really don't look at you as minority, and I was kind of taken aback because that's not the first time I've heard it. So I was like, okay. And when the other comment came out, I was really kind of confused. You're not the minority that that they're looking for, or along those lines. And I was really confused about that, and taken aback and emotionally prepared. Like, well, what do you mean by that? I didn't feel discriminated against, one bit in any of these conversations. And when the things were said to me, it was like, okay, I get it. And it's not the first time I've heard that, but at the same time, it's like, well, what do you mean by that? So that's where it comes from, and just the questions behind it. There's no malicious part, anything on my behalf. It was just the questions behind it. I'm not sitting here saying that, I'm not employed by the NFL because I'm Asian. I'm not saying that at all. It's just the mere fact that it was said to me brought questions to me, and just wanted some more answers behind it.
So just to clarify, you said in the interview, you mentioned you're a minority, and the response was, well, we don't see you as a minority.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I can't remember the exact words, but it was like, oh, you're really not a minority, and I was like, and that's when I was like, wow. And that's when it kind of froze me in my tracks. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're not the minority that, or you're not the right minority. It was kind of like the words used. And that's to clarify that's what, was said, kind of the words. But that's not the first time it's been said to me. And that's why it's coming to light today.
Can you tell us exactly what's your rationale, what's your thinking behind not calling out who that coach was or who that team was?
Yeah, I mean, there's no what good would come from that, to sit there and put someone out there to throw them out to the wolves. There's nothing good will come from that. That will just cause more more dissension, more discrimination. There's nothing nothing good will come from that. So that information will go with me. It's between me and God, and it will go to my grave. If you get bitten by a snake and the snake slithers off into the bush, I mean, do you chase the snake or do you heal the wound? My whole rationale now is let's heal the wound. Let's unify everybody. That's my whole goal behind this. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not bashing anybody. I actually applaud the NFL for them welcoming the diversity and the inclusion. Let's just break down all the barriers and let's come together and unify everybody. Not just in the NFL, but in the country also. I think that's why it's taken it's people are really gravitating towards this, because that's my goal behind this. I had no ultimatum. I had no agenda when we did the panel. I was just sharing my experiences, as an Asian athlete growing up in the U.S. And my experiences of discrimination, and racism goes way back to when I was a young child and all the way through. And I just want to unify everybody with this. I'm not trying to belittle anybody, trying to put anybody down. That's where I want to go.
You're not looking to create essentially the environment that you were put in, feeling
That's
incredibly.
absolutely right. Right. And if I can shed some light on that and break down these barriers, then that's my goal right there, is to bring people together.
So Eugene, you've played in this league, you've coached in this league. Are you concerned at all that going public with this kind of experience will close the door to some opportunities? You know, in other words, was it worth speaking up instead of staying quiet?
Right. And with everything that's going on in this country and in the world, and I have stayed quiet, and I've always kept my head down and always worked. And that was kind of like what I was taught by my father, who immigrated here. He's like, always do your work as best you can, stay quiet, don't cause any trouble. Well, I don't feel like I'm causing trouble. I'm just bringing information to light. What are the repercussions? I don't know. We'll see. We'll follow up on that. But if I can bring awareness to the society, if I can bring awareness to the country, or bring awareness to the world of what's going on, and kind of like the injustices, or just the kind of overseeing, not overlooking, the Asians as a race or a culture, it's well worth it, to bring in. And the support I've been getting from the Asian community and outside the Asian community too has been nothing but fantastic. And I want to reiterate that there's been no agenda from, I'm not saying that, oh, because I'm Asian, I didn't get this. If there's a candidate out there that is qualified, regardless of race, color, creed, gender, they deserve that job. So that's kind of where I want to go with this.
I'm glad that you mentioned all the support you're getting, because you've been around football for 30 plus years. You've been around the culture of football for 30 plus years. Your phone, I know, has been pretty busy the last 48 hours or so. How does it feel to be you right now? How does it feel to share this experience?
People that know me know that I'm not a big person of, needing a lot of outside accolades and attention and, being in the media spotlight. They just know that I'm a very cerebral person. So it's been amazing, and kind of a whirlwind at the same time. But at the same time, when I hear the people reaching out and the things that are saying, I mean, texts I'm getting from former players, it almost brings tears to my eyes. So I'm like, that's worth it. And then young kids reaching out via social media and saying, I've been bullied, all through elementary school and middle school, and now because of you brought a face, to us. So when I hear stuff like that, that's what's, it's so heartwarming to me, and almost, I mean, it brings tears to my eyes.
Is there one particular text or one particular story you heard that really moved you?
Oh my gosh! I mean, they've all moved me. One of my former players, from the Eagles, King Dunlop, wrote me this. I don't even know how long. I mean, the text was like almost like it was a dissertation, and by the end of it, I was like fighting back to tears, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And people who know King Dunlop, he's 6'10", 340 pounds, this big, gigantic, man. But the text that he sent me, just, I mean, it brought tears to my eyes. And another young Asian youth I met this past weekend came up to me and was crying, and gave me a hug, and he was just telling me everything. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And I didn't realize that this would happen by any means. I don't think anyone did on the panel, but it is. So let's embrace it and let's use it to the best that we can.
Final question here. As you know, the NFL has decided to review those comments.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on what you hope they find, where you want this to lead?
Well, when they say they're going to probe it or investigate it, I'm assuming, and this is just my opinion, that they want to know who said that. Like I said before, what good is going to come from that? Maybe they can look at it just within knowing that it's been said now. It's like, well, maybe we need to change the verbiage of some things and kind of break down what the idea or the spirit of those rules are, or the diversification um, suggestions are. So from there, I mean, I welcome it. I mean, that information will, like I said before, will go with me to the grave. But it's like again, it's like, do we chase the snake or do we heal the wound? And I think with this, I think we can heal a lot of things that have been severed and cracked. And with everything that's gone on, I think this is another way just to unite everyone together again, even tighter. And not, like I said, not just in the NFL, but this country also.
If the NFL reaches out to you or anything kind of, bubbles up there that we should know about,
Sure.
let me know. So I don't, say anything mistaken like, oh, he hasn't been contacted yet or whatever.
Right, right.
He
Which
hasn't been
they
contacted
yeah.
yet as of Monday night, but
Right.
I'm assuming they'll reach out at
Yeah,
some point.
yeah. And I have no problem whatsoever. I have no qualms with the NFL right now. That's the thing. It's like I'll talk to them and I'll explain to them, just like I've explained to you and everybody else, what happened. It's not like, you know, it, it's nothing. I'm not hiding anything. It's not like, oh, it's this big secret. It's just, look, it was said to me. And then that was my experience. I got no problem talking to anybody, whoever wants to call and talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name teams, but I can tell you this, it's been said to me on many occasions, not just last year or the year before, we can backtrack. So it's kind of always been, it's been out there. So it's never been said. We've always been quiet, fly under the radar. You're a good little Asian. You're a good, minority, the model minority. I think I broke that model.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.